If you're not making money in the stock market, it's because you're not backtesting. And most people aren't backtesting because it's hard work, it's time consuming, and it's boring. Well, what if I showed you a way today that you could automatically backtest directly from your charts? You can see it happening in the top left corner above my head here on this Tesla chart. And in today's video, I'm going to go through how to set it up. The first indicator we had to create in order to begin auto backtesting on our ThinkorSwim charts was a better strategy P&L indicator. This indicator here is measuring the profit or loss per trade that you are running your strategy against. And it's different from the floating P&L indicator, which exists out of the box on ThinkorSwim, because the floating P&L indicator, if I zoom into this trade here, you will see, as you are entering this position and as the position is going down, the floating P&L is showing your loss in that trade, even though you haven't exited yet. And what my indicator is doing is it's not showing any change until you exit the trade. And that is much more indicative of what the kind of data you want when you're backtesting, because it doesn't necessarily matter what the P&L of an open position does as it pertains to your backtesting statistics. As everyone says, it's not a win until you sell. It's also not a loss until you sell. So these kind of peaks and valleys from inside of trades end up throwing off, especially this max drawdown statistic, to a ridiculous, not realistic number. So that's the first indicator I had to come in and create. By the way, the strategy running is the strategy that we challenged ourselves the other day, a couple videos ago, to make an 80% win rate strategy. That's the strategy you see running on the chart. If you missed that video, I'll link it in the top right now. Click on that and watch that video after this one. It's a fun strategy. By the way, for the technical specialist out there, I'm not going to get too tech into the code in this video because I know most of you don't care. But how I created this strategy was I only took measurements if the floating P&L was different than the floating P&L before. That's how I did it. So if there is a P&L change, then you place it on your chart. That's how I made it only count at the exit of trades rather than the entire change while you're in a trade, right? So that's the first indicator. And now with this indicator, this allows us to pull this data, right? It allows us to count the number of trades. It allows us to calculate the average win and the average loss and the win percentage. All of these things are necessary in order to calculate this, and they could only really be pulled once you had an indicator like this made. So this was the basis of everything. But now let's jump into the fun stuff. Let's jump up here. So all of these statistics are the same statistics that I used to calculate in Excel, right? I've made videos on this before, but I used to have to come in and export the trades to Excel and then clean up the Excel file, clean up the CSV file, to Excel, and then create the calculations and export other files and this, that, and the other. I wanted to make a way where I could just see everything on my chart already, and that's what we did. So what's showing up here? Total number of trades taken, total P&L, win percentage, average win, average loss, so that you can see your risk reward versus your win percentage. You need to see that. And then your max drawdown, which is very, very important. If anything, max drawdown is just as, if not more important than just the total P&L. Because if you have a strategy that makes a ton of money, but it has a 90% max drawdown, is that really the kind of strategy you want to be trading? So immediately turning this study on your chart is going to help teach you what works and what doesn't in your strategies and how to optimize your strategies. So if I come in and I want to change something in my strategy, if I want to come in and instead of the moving average length 200, I change it to the moving average length 100, I can immediately see the impacts that has on the backtesting data, so that every single time I make a change in one of my strategies, I don't have to go through the entire export, update CSV, import, do the calculations. It happens all immediately on your charts, and this stuff is really, really game-changing. It saves a ton of time, which allows you to create more and more optimized strategies. As always, both of those indicators, the updated trade P&L and the backtest data indicators, are available for download on my website, daytradingstrategies.net, as well as all my strategies and scanners and other studies that I've ever created. Daytradingstrategies.net, first link in the top of the description. We'll see you over there. So let's take a moment now to just show you examples of how this works. Let's go over the fun stuff. Let's show you the numbers. And once again, this strategy is a very simple one. I mean, look, it's 8 lines of code, less than with the spaces. This is a very simple strategy. It was just a little challenge one that we set ourselves on that video to try to get a high win percentage strategy, which we did achieve, but I don't expect amazing things out of this strategy. But first off, I have changed my simple moving average length back to 200. And second off, I want to show you this. So this is something last night I was working on, and it shows you the power of having the back-tested data directly on your study. Last night, I commented out the lines for my stop loss. So I was testing the strategy with no stop. And those are things you can do, right? You can come in, well, what if I don't have a stop loss? How does that impact the numbers? This, that, and the other. I actually need to go to another chart. This one doesn't show any examples. Let me go to my scanner as well. This is the scanner for this strategy. It's showing you what is currently buys, by the way, also available on daytradingstrategies.net, of course. But if I go into Apple, if I comment out the stop, will the numbers change now? Yes. So you see the max drawdown gets, funnily enough, the max drawdown gets a little bit smaller without a stop loss order. Look at how that works. That's something right there that's very impactful, and immediately, whether it be the most profitable strategy, the best strategy of all time or not, what this data does and what utilizing code like this does is it starts to teach you how the market works, what works in the market. Am I saying never have a stop loss? Of course, that's not what I'm saying. But for a strategy like this, perhaps you loosen the stop loss a little bit more. Actually, oftentimes, loosening, having a wider stop loss creates a smaller max drawdown because the win percentage gain is higher than the stop loss amount gain is. So things like that are why this code is so impactful and why it helps so much. So let's just click through a few examples. On Apple, which is right now the top list on the top stock on the scanner, it is currently a nice dip buy stock according to the scanner and according to the strategy. Already taken 127 trades, already up 15.7 grand, 83% win rate percentage, $265 average win, $586 average loss, $2,700 max drawdown. This is really nice. This looks really good. Now, of course, it's on Apple, right? So just like any strategy, you can't look at one chart. You can't look at one chart and go, oh, okay, yay, then this obviously works then, right? Sorry, I'm adjusting I just realized I was on the wrong camera. Okay, so this works, right? No, you've got to keep clicking. So if we go to the next stock, CLSK, currently a buy. The strategy is starting to scale into positions now on this stock. 8 trades so far, $5,600 up, 88% win percentage, 828 average win, 209 average loss, 209 drawdown. Not a lot of trades here, 8 trades, but what this ends up doing, if I open actually my back test to show you, what this ends up doing is it ends up giving you data that is extremely easy to write down. So something I've started doing in my back test is just running the tickers A through Z, all the tickers that are at least actual tradable assets and not funds, or there's a couple of the tickers that don't exist anymore. All the currently existing equities or assets that I can trade A through Z, I run my back test on. This gives me a very well randomized large selection of different sectors of the stock market. And what I do is I pull up ticker A. So I go, okay, let's look at ticker A. And then I simply write all this stuff down. It's very easy. So instead of having to export, clean up, perform calculations, copy, paste this, that, and the other that you've seen me do before, I just simply write down what's there. And then across my tickers from A to Z that work, I get all the statistics I need to see of the strategy, right? And then from there, I can optimize. So once again, take what you're learning from this, take the numbers that you're getting from this study, and it's awesome to have them directly on your chart like this because it really helps speed things up. But take them and then put them in and do, multi-sector, multi-stock, different time frames, different sections of time in the stock market. Do all that type of testing that you're supposed to do with it, but use this strategy to greatly speed up the process and to make it way less time consuming, way less boring, and way less difficult. this is my favorite study I've ever built. This is my most useful study I've ever built. And I'm not just saying that as a sales pitch. I really mean it. This is the thing I've been the most excited about building. And I'm really excited to see just how it helps me now create better trade strategies, because I can now run 10 tests in the time it used to take me to run one test, right? And you can see how that is going to help create more optimized and more profitable strategies for me in the future. So that's going to be the video today. Once again, the study is available for download on daytradingstrategies.net. And for those of you guys that made it to the end of the video, I always say you guys are the ones taking your trading education seriously, especially on a backtesting video. In the intro, when I said this is a backtesting video, I promise you 50% of the people immediately clicked off. People don't want to learn about backtesting. It's boring. Oh, backtesting, who cares? They just want to be told the strategy that's going to make you 10,000% this year. That's the stuff they want to learn. But this is real trading. So those of you guys that stuck around and are really spending time to learn how to do this stuff, how to collect trade data, how to manipulate trade data, how to optimize strategies, you guys are the ones that have a chance. You really do. And I like to give you guys a little bit of extra bonus. So on my website, daytradingstrategies.net, link at the top of the description. If you use discount code END, you're going to get your first month for only $15. This study, all my other studies, this strategy that you see running, this watch list that you see running, all my other strategies, all my other watch list, all of it for $15. So go check it out now. With all that being said, if you made it this far, please hit the like button on the video. It helps me out a lot. And if you're new around here, you obviously enjoy this kind of content, so make sure you're subscribed, as I post near daily YouTube content just like this for free. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out of today's video. But I'm going to link you all to another video over my face right here about another way that I make use of labels like this in ThinkorSwim in order to automatically calculate your position size.